Hello and welcome to the Kaizen Academy podcast. I'm Justin and I'm here with my co-host Cal. What's up, dude?
Yo. How you doing, Justin?
Pretty good, pretty good. Started a new job recently.
Yeah.
I think you know. So things are
Give us.
getting pretty
Yeah.
pretty interesting. Like learning a lot every day. Starting next week, I can finally start working from home 2 days a week. So 3 days in office, 2 days at home. That's a good mix to me.
Dude, I feel like that is honestly so perfect. And does it look like your company is gonna go like commit to that and this is like permanent, or do they still go like, is this like a half step? We're still planning to bring everyone back in the office or something like that.
It seems like this could be something that's permanent. Fingers
Yeah.
crossed. My boss wants it that way as well.
Yeah.
So we'll see. We'll see. It would be
Feels so
ideal.
efficient. Yeah.
Yeah, like 2 days at home. Like I feel like you can actually get a lot more work done. You cut out the commute because like people like you get more work done because people aren't bothering you all the time.
Yeah.
Like have a little chat kind of thing. And then 3 days in office, like that's when you can get all of the in-person meetings done, like things that you got. Because some things it's just like it's a lot easier getting it done in real life.
Yeah.
You also got to like socialize sometimes. Don't want to just be sitting at your computer all day.
There's a benefit to both of them, I've found, and it's like I've never really wanted to commit to one or the other. It's like my last intern was like full virtual, and it was I struggled. I had my own set of challenges, you know what I mean, just by being at home all the time. And then the chances that I did get into the office, it was so refreshing. And then when I went into the office a bit too frequently, I'm like, oh, so tired. Like,
I've had
oh my
enough.
god, waking up. Yeah, I've had enough. It's like I need to stay home, and I'm like, damn, yeah, looking forward. Like 3 days, 3 day, 2 day split. It sounds perfect. You know, you don't feel like you're getting like absolutely slaved away sometimes as well. Like you're given a chance, like a bit of room to breathe, man.
Definitely. I'm really hoping this like stays as it's just a part of like regular corporate culture now. Like I've been
Yeah.
having like a hybrid of working from home and going into the office.
Man, isn't it crazy? Like a year or two ago, when I was doing the intern, two interns ago, like it was so foreign to work from home. It was like, what was your excuse? What are you doing? Are you sick? Like there was so much scrutiny if you decided to work from home. And it's like, oh, his wife's in the hospital. That's why he has to work from home. Or some like
Fair
intense
enough.
stuff. Oh, fair enough. Yeah. It
Don't
felt
let it
so
happen
like,
again though.
yeah. And I was like, damn, bro. But now it's like completely normal. It's like, yeah, work from home. All right, let's hop on a meeting and like get things done. Still,
Let's
no
jump
big
on
deal.
Zoom.
Yeah. Comes to show, maybe like it was never an issue. You know what I mean? Straight up, just the corporate like companies working us a bit too hard. The- Coronavirus been like a step forward for worker rights for us. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like we've won one. We've won like I think we won a battle. To be honest, it feels like we won a battle.
There's a silver lining to everything.
Yeah, definitely. What's
Nice.
the 2 week review but like so far? Huh?
It's good. I like the office. I like the people. So for our viewers, I just started working as a machine learning engineer, um, and then like very
Very cool.
interesting work. Got a lot of
Very
data
cool.
to play around with, and the tech infrastructure is really nice. One of the fears, I guess, as like a software, if you're a software engineer type thing, is getting stuck in a company that has a very old, outdated stack. You're like, oh, I gotta learn this, work with this stuff.
Yeah.
But no, everything I'm working with, very modern, very pleasant to work with.
So all the knowledge you're learning is going down the drain. It's like, oh, I'm never using this again.
Yeah,
No.
yeah.
Yeah. That's good. That's good. Oh, far. You sound like you sound like just like the specialist aspect or element to your role is just so cool. It's like, no, I'm not an average software. Like, please do not group me. I am elite. Machine learning. Like, I'm a pro. Nah, that sounds really dope.
I
It's
do.
good.
I really like because like I don't know. I was like kind of stuck between two parts, right? I really liked like machine learning, but also like there's a lot more web dev jobs
Yeah.
out there. So like wasn't sure which way I want to go down, but that I was lucky enough to find this role because there aren't too many like junior level roles like for this junior
Yeah.
level of
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
role.
I've seen it. Yeah.
So it's just very lucky that this was there.
Yeah, a lot of times it's like with these specialist type roles, it's always like we're looking for someone senior. We need someone like to consult us because we want to go down this route. Eh? It's never like, oh, fresh graduate, please, or whatever like that.
Yeah.
That's really awesome. Very niche. It's really good.
All right. So
All right.
this episode, we're gonna be kind of stepping back in time, and kind of looking back on uni and giving our viewers 6 or 7 tips, a bunch of tips, for students starting their first year of uni.
Yep.
Specifically in Sydney, I feel like we've got to niche down a little bit. Be very concise with like who we're talking to. Just
Of what
so
we can
give-
speak to, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Give
I'm
more
not going to be
granular
like, oh,
advice.
uni in Melbourne's like this. It's like, bro, what do you mean?
Yeah.
You've never been, mate. Like, come on. Yeah, what we're most familiar with, right? Just what we've experienced so far. Some of these I don't feel like are very relevant, like Sydney only. Some are just generic. Hey, just starting out. But yeah, we'll try to tackle the Sydney problems.
So I guess I'll go first. The first one I wanted to talk about was getting involved in societies. I think that's like a major. It was a major point for me because I was like quite shy in high school, and then like, you know what, I'm gonna break out of my shell a little bit in uni, and I think societies were like a really great way to do that. So I got heavily involved in like a couple of societies, but then mostly the anime society. So first year I was just like hanging out, like meeting people there. Second year I became an exec. I was an events director, and then third year I became president of the anime society, which is still something I'm quite proud of. It's like I feel like it's a badge of honor. Like, yeah, I'm a big weeb.
But you wear it proud. You wear it proud. And that's
Yeah.
That's what everyone can respect, you know.
Yeah.
And that's the thing with societies, man. It's like you come to learn to like kind of drop the, I guess, I don't know, like whatever the inhibitions. I don't know what the word is, but like everyone at uni, there's always someone so proud of that one niche thing. There's like clearly the anime society, and then a billion other societies, and you'll manage to somehow find like, you know, people that are super proud, and it really helps you open up. It's like, oh, I love this, but I've never had a chance to talk to anyone about it. I've always been embarrassed, or the people I used to go to high school with always shunned me about it, right? It's like, oh no, there's a safe space for everyone. I guess that's a really nice thing about uni. It's like really safe space for everyone there.
You can really find like your people, right? Like people that have the same interests as you. Like high school, like it's such a small population that you're friends with a lot of people because of proximity. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but like I feel like at uni you can really find people that are just similar to you in terms of hobbies and stuff. So yeah, and societies are a great way to do that. Like at UNSW, at least, like UNSW's got a very strong society culture. So there's like active societies for like basically like everything. There's like pole dancing society. There's there's the anime society. There's like
there's like
QSOC. There's like they play pool.
My mates were like in
Food lovers.
tech society. Oh, food lovers. Oh god, see, like everything, man.
There's a League of Legends
Like,
society.
yeah, it could be like really, it's like a whole spectrum. It could be like full hobbyist kind of things, or there are some societies there to like get you industry ready, get you like you know, ready for your first interview, ready for your first assessment center. There are so many resources out there, and it's like now looking back, now that we're like, I'm done, or I'm nearly done, you're done. Like looking back, it's a part of the experience, and it's part of the package that I personally didn't make the most of, and I do regret a lot. But on the other hand, Justin, you know, your progression to president was what, like over 2 years?
Yeah.
Well, I've never even jumped into a subcom, so it's like, could you walk us through like kind of like your journey a little bit? You know, what you experienced along the way, you know, the people you've met, and just all the big takeaways, I guess.
Definitely. So I guess as a first year, I was just basically a member. Like I think you just like turn up, and then you start meeting people. Like you meet the current execs and stuff, and if you kind of get like more involved, you kind of start thinking like, oh, okay, like I could run for something next year, like be part of the exec team, because that's really like it's one of the most fulfilling experiences I found at uni. Like you have this close group of people that you're working with like really regularly. You build like really strong bonds with them, and then you've got like, and it feels like you put in like you have some power in the sense that you can get funding from like the uni and stuff. So it's not just like, it feels proper. Like, okay, there's like
Yep.
procedures and stuff we've got to do. It's like a
Yeah.
step into like becoming
A professional.
a professional. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, running an organization almost, right?
Exactly, exactly. It's
Yeah.
like you're still kind of babysat, like in that, like you get all these resources from uni. It's not as cutthroat as like the real world, I
Yeah.
guess, but it still gives you a taste of what it's like running an organization, which was really good. You make a lot of good friends. So yeah, the second year basically, you'll get this a lot as well. Like towards the end of the year, when it's time to re-elect people, a lot of the executives would kind of push you to push like regular members, like, oh, you should run next year, kind of thing. So that's kind of, I think that's kind of what happened. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
like, the idea got planted in my head, and that's when I became events director, and that's kind of really when I started feeling like I was a lot more involved with the society, with the anime society, because like first year, like I didn't turn up too much, so I kind of get to know. You get to know a few people here and there, but when I became an exec, that's kind of when I started feeling like, okay, I really like fit in here, because
Yeah.
you kind of become part of like the in crowd, because you're an exec, right? Everything revolves around what you're
I'm
doing.
in the inner circle, right?
You're in the inner circle, not
Yeah.
and not coming from a place of like elitism, like
Right.
you're
But it
like,
always feels good,
sorry.
right? It always feels good though to be like in a part of something, right? There's that like brotherhood, like we in this together. We gotta run this thing, right?
Yeah. So like, just because like inherently, because everything revolves around the execs, right? Like they're planning the events, they're like making sure people come, and then like it's kind of your responsibility to make people feel welcome when they come to the events. So you've got to like go up, introduce yourself to new people and stuff. So I think
Yeah.
that's why inherently you're just like, a lot of people will know you. Like there
Right.
would be times where like people don't. I've never met the person, but like people know of me just because like you see like the execs running around a lot. So yeah,
Yeah.
second year, like made a lot of really good friends within the exec team. Started like kind of making friends with also like the first years that were coming in, and I don't know, it feels good. Like people kind of look up to you, like, oh man,
Yeah.
this guy's like on top of things.
Yeah.
And then
Oh, you were for sure. Could I just pause you there real quick though? I'm curious. Like, did you make a lot of friends first, and you were like, "Oh, these guys are awesome. Let me spend more time," and then commit to a subcom, like join the subcom from there, or was it like, "Oh, I should join the subcom," and then like you took that leap of faith, and then you found like even more friends from there? It was like,
it was very much the second one, very much the second one.
okay,
So
okay,
like,
okay,
once I became an exec, that's when I started making a lot of like new friends.
yeah,
So yeah, that's like one of, as kind of like, if you're a first year student this year, like join a lot of societies, like try them out, give them a real like proper try.
a real proper one, not just like getting your name down and then
Yeah, just like
forgetting about them.
you turn up and then you pick up your sausage and then like you go away.
Yeah,
You really want to put in the effort to like meet people, like try to make friends, because that's one of the most powerful things in uni that you will regret if you don't take advantage of. It's so easy to make friends at uni.
yeah. Me, like I'll be like the first testament of just like mad regrets, you know, every time I look around, and just like talking to peers like who have graduated, or you know, who are going through uni with me now that I'm meeting with them, and they describe their experience, and you can see how much far further they've managed to network themselves, and naturally as well. It's not like they put in effort. It was just like they put themselves in these positions, and then they just started growing friends and friend circles. So yeah, big regrets, because like without that, I've had to put in so much more effort to manually go around and find friends. And yeah, like I've always also consistently found like everyone that I know, and like say past students that I've taught, you know, as I teach them, they're like really quiet in high school, and I kind of noticed that. And then like after I finish teaching them, they always add me on Facebook, and we always follow each other, and like I can kind of keep tabs on, oh, these are my old students, and I always find a lot of them really blossom through these societies. It's like now they're like execs, and I see them posting all these crazy things, like, and I'm like, oh my god, like they were never like this before, but they've found their stride, their beat, and their people. And it's always been like, wow, amazing. So then you were events director. What about the
Yes,
transition to
director.
president? Was that pretty much the same thing, or?
Um, Not really, to be honest, because like I guess it was a bit more competitive in the sense that
Yeah,
like okay, like it's relatively easy, I think, to get
yeah,
into like any a role at in a society, but then becoming president, like people really have to feel like you know what you're doing. You're like responsible. You're friendly. Like you can kind of run the team. So you've got to give a little speech um, during the thing and really like tell like explain to people why like you've got to give a speech regardless. So
yeah.
I should probably explain the process. So basically, they have an event. It's called the AGM, and then at the end of it, it's just like a big meeting. Everyone in the society is like invited to it, and then at the end, you basically re-elect the executive team. So he's like, okay, we're doing events director now. Whoever wants to run, just come up, give your speech, and then there'll be questions afterwards, and then people will just anonymously vote. So that's how I got into events director, and then the year after, you ran for president, and then like you give your speech, and then you just get elected in. So
Yeah.
um, I guess on go ahead.
How how long was that speech like? Was it like a real serious one, or was it like more just come up?
It depends on like it's usually pretty casual. I think mine was like 3 minutes, 4 minutes.
And what did you talk about? Like just why I want to be.
Yeah, I think okay. This is a speech tip for
Uh,
all these first years out there.
yeah.
Don't talk about what you can provide to the society. Like why should the audience members like care that you why should they vote for you, right? You don't want to come from
Yeah.
the perspective of like, oh, I really want this role, like do this for me. It's all about me kind of thing. It's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
should be more about what can I do for you. So talk about like, okay, I'm very outgoing. If that's your strength, I put in the effort to like always meet new people. So that makes me really ideal, I guess, for this events director role because it's all about making sure people feel comfortable at the event, like making sure everything's making sure that people are like having a good time. So
Yeah.
it kind of come from that perspective, like what are the things that you can bring um, to the society.
Yeah. What about like so like you got into the president position, um, and like now kind of at the end of your journey, and from your perspective, what do you think is kind of the time? Because I also see people leave these societies and like at a certain point in their degree, they're like, okay, I need to start focusing on this or whatever like that. Finding that balance almost. Did you find a moment where you're like, okay, I've had enough, or I've done enough, or I've gotten what I really wanted out of this experience, and like what kind of decision would you find yourself making when you're leaving, say like a society or something like that?
I think that's a good question. I think it felt quite natural to me, I guess. Like when to
Or is
start.
it because
Like,
the 1 year, like, because then you got to
yeah,
get re-elected and you're like, okay,
yeah,
let me pass on the baton.
yeah, basically, yeah. I think one trap to is getting stuck in societies too much. You see people like that, like they spend I don't know, a good 6 years just doing society stuff and then not really focusing on their actual degree, graduating and moving on.
Yeah.
So I think that's one thing to remember actually. Societies are great. You eventually do have to move on with your life.
Yeah.
Don't be like that old like sixth year student still like chatting up first years in societies. That's not the play. Not that that's too relevant to like the
Yeah.
first year students that we're
Yeah,
talking
yeah.
to now.
Yeah.
But
Just
yeah,
something
like
to keep in
there's
the back of your mind. Right? Don't
keep it
get
in the
too
back of
lost
your
in it.
mind. Don't get too lost in it. It is still, it's a really cool part of uni, but
Yeah.
you still gotta, you can't get stuck there. You gotta finish a degree, move on to the real world eventually.
Yeah. I want to just kind of like piggyback on that because doing societies, it's this extracurricular element to your uni life, and it's something that everyone picks up. If you're not picking up on a society, I'm sure you're picking up on other extracurricular things, and a lot of times people are working part-time, and I think this is more so just a personal experience. This is very anecdotal, I guess. It's like I got very carried away with my part-time work, and it's like you lose sight. For me personally, I guess coming from like a what like lower middle class, I guess it's like when I started making money, it's like that kind of clouded my judgment. I didn't, when you go to uni, there's no immediate gratification, there's no immediate reward. It's you're just slaving through these subjects sometimes, and it can get a bit like tiring. So making sure that you still like, regardless of what you do, you came to uni to finish the degree, so don't forget about it.
Yeah.
Please, because that's the goal. Looking back now, I've been here too long, man. Like every time it's like I had the icebreakers last week, and every time I have an icebreaker, it's like, yeah, I'm in my final year of uni. Let's not talk about what year it is. Let's just say I'm in my final year of uni. So I don't want to share that information.
Yeah, I'm a
but yeah.
70 student.
Yeah. So it's like, yeah, it's a bit embarrassing. And to save you that, make sure you stay still laser focused on the degree, because that still holds the most priority, I feel like, in most cases.
For sure. Keep your eye on the goal. Don't let yourself get too distracted. But societies are really good. You do things like organize camps, you organize events, stuff like that. So it's really fun, really rewarding experience. So, but for the first year students, all I would say is go to the camps, go to the events, like really put in the effort to meet new people. You won't regret it, because you don't want to end up as like the fourth year student with like who still only hangs out with their high school friends. That's not it. Oh no, no, I feel like you met a lot of people at uni.
I think it was honestly,
but it wasn't through societies, but it was like,
yeah, I don't know, like, but see, it's like I guess looking back, it's like, oh man, I had to put in so much more effort to look for these people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it also came a lot later. I feel like if I had jumped into a society, it would like kickstarted my friend making journey a lot earlier. Because it's so easy to just like make a friend in one subject and then like just forget about him and then see him around, hey, sup man, like but with a society I feel like, yeah, hello, and then that's it. But with societies, it feels like a bigger commitment. I think you do. I mean, I still see you going out with a lot of the anime society friends, right? People that you've met like to this day. Exactly. So really genuine, like serious friendships that you build. Good opportunity for that. It's good stuff.
And I guess like just on that, like I think this is my theory on how friendships are made, right? You need repeated contact through like something else, I guess, for like friendships to organically form. It has been my own experience. Like you see someone a couple times at an event, and like, okay, you just say hi the first time, and then like you have a bit longer of a chat the next time, and then it's through that repeated exposure that you really get close to people. So I think that's really necessary, and societies make it really easy to do that, because you just like see them like at like events you keep turning up to. Like it's really hard to like meet someone, like make a friend at like a club or something, right? You say hi, you just talk like that one time, but then neither person is really gonna put in the extra effort to like hang out again after that, because you've only like met this person once.
Feels a bit weird.
Whereas if you
organic, that's the thing.
It's not organic. It's not impossible, but like I think it very rarely happens. Whereas societies are a really organic way to like make friends. So yeah, join societies. That's my tip number one. It's so like it's one of the most rewarding things you can do at uni.
Yeah. All right.
What about you, Cal?
So with societies, cool, extracurricular. But I want to just talk on just something that I say year in year out with a lot of my students, and it's just like keeping your options in terms of what you choose for your degree as broad as possible. I feel like it's such a simple thing that I wish I wish I was told a lot earlier on, because it's so exciting when you get like this opportunity to go into uni, and then it's like they hit you with the handbook, and it's like, these are all the degrees we offer, and man, some of them sound so cool. It's like, I'm double majoring this and that, and double degree this that, and a lot of times, unis are good, but they're also money making machines. So sometimes some degrees aren't really there. They're not going to be the best bang for buck. Sometimes you'll do subjects that you'll find like, the hell am I doing this subject for? Like literally the subject I'm doing right now, it feels like just a cash grab. Like honestly, unnecessary. I'm not really learning anything. I'm just here for the vibes kind of thing. But yeah, like being a bit more skeptical with what kind of degree that you're taking. You know, sometimes I find students going into it a bit too keen-eyed, like, oh my god, like amazing, a bit naive, just a touch naive, and understandably so. It's not against anyone. Like, just kind of being so specific in what they love to choose. Like, oh my god, I want to, I don't know, do this, that, and I don't know. With the more specific you make your degree choice, or you make your degree, it just becomes harder and harder for you to weasel out of it. And I think weaseling out of your degree is something that maybe like 80% of people who find themselves doing. So it's like, oh, keep that door open, man. Like you need a way out, man. Like just in case. So don't lock yourself in too early. And like, yeah, just especially early on, because this is like first year student. Like, and some degrees out there. That's why I guess some degrees out there are designed like when you look at engineering degrees, it's like, oh, flexible first year. I think that's awesome. That's amazing. Like, man, give the kid a year to figure out what they even want to do. And even then, I feel like it's not enough time. But still, it's like it's better than straight off the bat, I want to do this very specific thing, right? Or better yet, like something like computer science. I feel like there's a very big computer science bias here, but you know, I mean, all my students already know, man. Like, that's the hot
That's
degree right now.
Here. That's what we shield. Yeah, I think that's really a really important thing to keep in mind is the degree that you start off with doesn't have to be the degree that you finish off with. I think a big mistake is like the sunk cost fallacy of like, oh, I've already done like a year of this, and then like I don't want to like transfer to something else. Like, you're just digging the hole deeper and deeper. Like if you like do not like electrical engineering, and then you're just like struggling through it, right? Don't feel like, oh, you have to do this, because you finish a degree and then you do it, and you got to do it for the rest of your life. It's not like you finish a degree and then you don't do it anymore. That's like the rest of your career now. So it's better to transfer early if you're going to transfer. Yeah. And I guess
as early as possible.
I guess like a tip I would give is, I think you should try, if you have free electives or like gen eds, you should use them in your first year. Don't use them as WAM boosters. I think that's a mistake. I think you should use them to try out like the first subject of like different areas that you potentially might be interested in. So like I did like psychology 1A, and then I did Japanese 1A, and then I did like microeconomics, and then you just try a bit of everything. Oh, I did nutrition as well, which was kind of a WAM booster, but like I think getting exposed to all of these different, like just like getting a taste for all of these different industries, you actually get a better idea of like what do you like, as opposed to what you think you will like, right? Because like I think when you come to uni, like I think I like being an electrical engineer. You don't actually know that until like you actually get into the work.
How can you say that? You know what I mean? Like looking back, it's like preposterous for me to back then. I honestly was like, oh, my dad's an electrician, let me just do electrical engineering. Or this seems like the hardest one, let me challenge myself, make sure I'm challenging myself, so I'll do electrical engineering. But it's like, how would I know that it's like I like doing electrical engineering? Like, you don't know that, right? I didn't know that. I guess I'm speaking to myself right now. But yeah, just making sure that you understand that these ideas in your mind can change, and they will change over time. We're not all like so blessed to have that, like, I want to be a doctor, and then you see some of these kids, like, they jump into med and they're super passionate, super competitive, super motivated. It's like awesome, right? Not everyone needs to be like that, right? And it turns out a majority of us, sometimes we just need time to figure things out, and the best way to figure something out is to do it, like literally do it. And so like that's the thing, like with that sunk cost thing that you're talking about, I love that. It's a lot of times you look at, oh, I've already done a year of this, I don't want to waste it. It's like, no, you didn't waste it. You did a year of it, and you exposed yourself to it to make sure if you really wanted to do it, right? That is the whole purpose of doing it. Like, to do it and then abandon is the purpose of doing these things, right? If you do something and then just feel obliged to like attach yourself to it just because you've done it out of necessity, I think that's like the wrong way of thinking of it. I did a bit of renewable, absolutely hated it, and me now dropping it was now I know. It's like, how would I have known, right? And the other thing is actually, even if you hate something, you can sometimes come back and love it at the end again. You know what I mean? Like, that's like, your mind is just, you things are never the way that it seems. Like when I went into, say, electrical, it's like I absolutely hated it. And then I did a bit of coding and absolutely hated that as well. And then I was so naive to just implant in that, like, that idea in my brain. Nope, coding's not for me. Never, ever, ever gonna do this. I literally built my degree around coding, and like I made sure all my electives were like would avoid every coding. It's like I'd read, I was like, is there coding in this? No, not doing this subject. And then right at the end, what I find myself, I was like, oh damn, I kind of like this. And it's like I've ended up in this degree, you know, in this kind of career path. And that's the thing. It's, as a high school student, you don't know what degrees are like. As uni students, you don't even know what the jobs are like, you know. And that unknown is I'm not saying that, like, kind of stating that to scare people. I'm just saying you just got to factor that into your decisions, right? The fact that a lot of it is unknown, you know. Just got to let go. And sometimes it's serendipitous. Sometimes it's like you're doing stuff and you're like, oh my god, look at this, I kind of like this. And then, oh my god, I found myself here and I found myself there. And let life kind of take the wheel, I guess, you know.
I think one principle that I read about that I really like is the idea of exploring widely and then specializing. That's kind of the ideal way that you should, because if you specialize straight away, right, you don't know if you're going to be good at it. Like, just say, like, okay, I want to do, I don't know, mechanical engineering, and you just do that, and then, like, you don't, and then you might just be, like, okay at it. You might not be that passionate about it, but you're just stuck now, right? Instead, what you should do is spend a little bit of time exploring a lot of different things. Like this applies to, like, your job, like your degree, but this could also apply to, like, hobbies and stuff. This general principle is, like, super cool. Like, you got to explore, like, dip your toes in, like, a lot of different things initially.
Yeah.
And then when you find the one that's for you, that's when you specialize and put all your eggs in that basket, I guess.
Yeah. Just not, like, going all out, like, with not enough, like, intel, you know what I mean? Like, as you explore wide, your decisions become much more rich and deep and meaningful, right? If you're trying to make these decisions straight off the bat with, like, blind, they're literally shooting in the dark. That's what it feels like, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I like that analogy.
And it's like, what the hell? And some of these kids expect themselves, put that pressure on themselves, like, I'm shooting in the dark and I'm going for bullseye. And it's like, bro, no, that's not how it works. Chill out. Like, you know, you shoot in the dark, so, like, slowly, you know, when you're playing Age of Empires or, like, those games where it's like you're slowly, like, discovering the map kind of thing as it expands. Exactly that, bro. I'm imagining that in my head right now. But yeah, I think just be really careful with your decisions. Really try to make sure that as you make this decision or you choose the next few subjects, are you locking yourself down, right? Or are you closing off opportunities to yourself? Just kind of try to close off those opportunities as late as possible, aka explore wide and then specialize, you know, later on once you've really, like, seen the world or seen what's really out there. But yeah, that's kind of like my first thing, and the thing that I always say with a lot of my students every year.
That's a really good one. So the next one I've got is always have something that you're learning or improving on, and that's kind of something that I've been, like, basically always doing since high school. So, like, basically from the start of uni, and it's been one of the most important things that have, like, made my life more fulfilling. It's just better in general. So, like, I tend to have, like, a theme that I'm focusing on at any point of my life. So, like, first year of uni, that was very much learning to become more social. So, like, you know what, this is what I'm focusing on. So putting in the effort to, like, go out and make new friends, putting in the effort to like, start dressing better, start, like, going to the gym, stuff like that, just becoming more social. And then second year was I think the second year was also probably focused on, like, making friends and stuff. Yeah, part two, maybe. And then, like, third year was, like, when I was doing presidency. So, like, okay, this is when I'm learning to, like, just being a leader. And then fourth year, that was like, okay, now my focus has shifted, like, starting to, like, I feel like I've got enough friends, I've got a good amount of connections, so now the focus is more on my degree, because during that time, third year, I was still doing electrical engineering, was not having a good time, so, like, okay, now my focus is more on really where do I want to take my career. So I decided to, like, transfer into like software and start like really drilling deep into that. And then I just always had like something that I was always improving on throughout my time at uni. And I think that's something that all students, all first years, like should do as well. Like what's important to you right now in first year? Is it like getting, I don't know, is it making friends, or is it improving a skill? Or is it developing hobbies, or just developing yourself as a character, developing your character?
Yeah. Is that like because I feel like sometimes though that is a hard question to ask yourself, to go, what am I going to improve this year? And then give yourself like this overarching theme, I guess. Or it's quite a bit of, I don't know, to me it's scary. You've done it like so many times. Maybe it's my ego getting in the way. It's like, I don't need to prove anything. What are you talking about? But is it something that you kind of gave yourself a review of at the end of every year? It's something you decided at the beginning of each year?
Not. It wasn't. It didn't start off that concrete. I think I do that more properly now. Like, okay, what do I want? What do I want deep down? It's like I sit there with like a notebook, like talk to myself. But I think it's more like, it was more, what am I not happy about with my life right now, or like what do I
and do
want?
something about it.
Yeah, and do something about it. So like, okay, like end of high school was like, man, I feel like I was like too shy. Like I just wasn't happy with that aspect of myself, I guess. So okay, what do I want? I want to be liked. I want to have a lot of friends. I want people to come to me when they have like problems and stuff, or like I just want a good social life, right? So like, okay, that's what I want. Let's take steps to do that, or like, and then after that, when in fourth year, it's like, what do I want? I want to have a fulfilling career. I want to not feel like I'm a failure in terms of like uni and stuff, right? So okay, what are the steps needed to like make that happen?
Yeah.
So I think the compass is really like, what do you want?
Like a northern star to keep you aligned as you go. Because I guess you can get a bit carried away with the technicalities. Oh, studying this subject, studying that subject. But it's like, are you improving yourself? Are you making strides in that regard? And it doesn't have to be. You don't have to be making strides. I don't want to put that pressure. It's like every year you need to be absolutely killing it. You know, don't put that pressure on yourself. But it's like, it's good to have this self-improvement, I guess, mindset. I'm really trying to rack my brain and like think about what I've been doing. I feel like I do it very subconsciously.
I think most people do it very subconsciously. I think everyone does it to an extent.
Yeah, but just making sure that you improve. Like what I'm trying to think. What have I? Because I was like, first year, what did I do? Maybe I was like, I'm not playing enough games. So then, how am I going to solve this? I'm going to play heaps of games.
Some games, yeah.
And then I realized it was the wrong decision and I wasn't actually improving. I don't know. It's for me, the contrast is here. I feel like the contrast is here. Like, there are people that are more like myself, just like kind of going through life right now and like not really putting a lot of effort into those things. And I think we need to take a lesson out of your book. It's like learning to confront these things. Like, I want to make sure I improve these things, right? Because I've found like some years where I've stagnated or become stagnant, or whatever the word is, and it's been sad. It's been like, oh man, you always like to look back and go, I've done better. Like, I've done better. Like, I'm in a better place
than I was last year. Yeah.
Yeah. It's always really gratifying to have that feeling and to be able to look back. And then, so in the years that I did improve, like, oh wait, no, yeah, I went through the same story arc as you as well. Like, fourth year roughly, it was just like, oh no, maybe mine came a little later, like fifth year. I was a bit of a late blossom. Like fifth year, oh man, I don't want to feel like a failure anymore. I don't want to see these 55s and these credits anymore. And then like, let me take steps towards studying and doing well at uni. And like, looking back after that year, I was so happy. I was just like, oh man, like, I'm in a better place. And that's just one of the joys in life, man. We're getting deep here, but it's like one of the things that bring me genuine happiness. It's like, I've done something that I can be proud of, right?
Yeah.
My God. I'm getting a bit old, man. I feel like the fact that we're talking about this is getting a bit old, man.
Getting too sentimental.
Yeah.
So like, I guess and I feel like a lot of things that we've said so far like have been a bit vague. So I'm just going to give listeners some ideas of the things that I've done, and maybe you could come up with things as well, that the ideas on what people can improve on, right? So fashion, that was a big one. So like, didn't really know how to dress. So like, okay, went out, started reading about it, like started to just try things out. What do I like? What I don't like. So like that was a learning project. Another one is your fitness, right? Like learning how to go to the gym. That's another thing that you could be improving on. How to be social. That's another one that I talked about earlier. Other things are like starting up hobbies, right? So this is kind of what I mean. Like, always have something that you're improving on or learning about.
Yep.
Any ideas for you, Cal?
I guess for me, the two biggest ones was just, oh yeah, like let's focus on uni for one, and then the other one was let's focus on interpersonal relationships. Another one, like, oh man, I want to put a real effort into my friends this year, or I'm gonna learn to get over that little hurdle of, or like that little friction of reaching out to friends and initiating things, right? I think that was a big, actually, yeah, that felt to me like a really big project. Like, I was like, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna start catching up with people and seeing the people that I like seeing. It's the people that bring me joy, like, because I realized, like, yeah, I guess, like, I got to a certain point where it was like, this brings me happiness. It's like, okay, then let me find out the things to do, or I guess the steps to take to arrive at that point. But yeah, working on my friends, that was a real big one. I mean, it's ongoing actually, but yeah.
And like these things, they're rarely ever like one and done, right? It's like you gotta sometimes, like, you gotta maybe like you deprioritize this for a while, but then like maybe you come back to it. So
Yeah.
learning's good. Everyone should always be learning. All right.
100%.
What's your next one, Cal?
Just to kind of chill out a little bit. Actually, no, my next one. Oh, my next one is something I guess we always talk about. But I found, like, the more I have put effort into, like, doing this one thing, it's really helped me. There's just so much benefit from it. So it's like making sure that whatever I do, or whatever subject I find myself in, there is a friend circle or there is a support group that I'm working with. There's just been, I've always glorified this whole, like, protagonist, solo, lone wolf type energy, and I was like, oh, I'm like, I'll tackle a subject, or like we'll be like choosing subjects, and my friends will be like, I'll have friends and like, oh, what are you guys doing? And I'll be like, oh, I'm a lone wolf. Let me choose this one subject by myself. Let me do it by myself. I'm so cool. And I absolutely fail, I absolutely get destroyed. And then when I'm doing subjects with friends, it's like, oh my God, my life is like a billion times better. So it's like putting in that effort. So if you're doing a new subject, even if you end up doing a subject that you don't have prior friends to, it's like putting in that effort in a tutorial class, in a lecture, to just be like, hey, can I borrow a pen? Or just initiating something and then setting up a group, like reaching out to people, because, oh my God, man, like, you alone, you will not make it through a lot of these subjects. You will need the help. You need to swallow your pride. And like, I've just found every time I've done it, it's just success. It's like my life has been so much easier with people.
Definitely, like, just having that support group, even people like just to complain about, complain about the course with, right? Like,
not talk shit about other people.
yeah. Sorry. It genuinely feels so much better. Just like, okay, I'm in the same boat as these guys. Even if we're all failing, we can pull ourselves together and like try to get ourselves through this course.
You'd be surprised, like, just, when you bring your minds together, you guys will kill the course. But you doing it by yourself, and you're trying to tackle and trying to manage like other courses and manage 10 billion other things, it's absolutely gnarly. It's like, could not handle so many of these things. And the subjects weren't even hard. The ones that I failed at, the ones that I found myself doing by myself, looking back, I'm like, that wasn't even hard. Why was it so dumb? Like, and it's just like, oh, because I tried to like tank it out by myself. I just feel like the biggest idiot. And then in my last few years, it was just like the boys, the elect boys, and it made my elect life amazing. Like honestly, I love those guys to death. Like I love those guys so much. Like that's the thing. It's like I've come back around, and it's like I hated my degree at the beginning, but it's like at the end, learned to like work with people, and these people have helped me through the subjects that I hated. Have made my life so much better. Like improved my standard of living at uni just tenfold, definitely. Yeah. So just like if like that's the thing. Like not everyone has the luxury of having prior friends to like go into a subject with, but it's like if I do ever pick up a new subject, I will make an effort like to make sure that before that subject starts, I have like maybe a group chat, or I have like a couple people, or maybe within the first few weeks to have picked up a couple friends, maybe a couple stragglers, team together, band together, let's make it through this trimester kind of thing. It's like, and for me, I'm just imploring you guys, like if you end up finding yourself in that position, just make sure you put in the effort at the beginning. It will pay off like so much, make your life so much better.
And I think one thing to be said as well is that when you're at uni, especially in the early years, everyone wants to make friends. Like if you just get over that tiny hurdle of like that anxiety of introducing yourself, like, hey, my name's Justin. What do you do? Like, what are you studying? Right? Adding them on Facebook, just taking that initial leap of faith, like, is usually really well rewarded. Like because like everyone is like, especially in first year, like everyone wants to make friends. Everyone is super keen. Everyone is super shy. Everyone like is scared to do that first step. So if you're the one to do it, big props to you.
Yeah, a lot of people are gonna like respect you. They're like, man, this guy's so confident. Oh my gosh, right? He's so cool, and
Little
people are
do
gonna
they
gravitate
know.
towards you, man. Like people will gravitate towards you. Yeah, it's like
Yeah,
you make that one
definitely.
initial step, and people see it's like, oh, this guy is really open, or he's made it apparent that he's very open to talking to new people, and it's like people will start to gravitate towards you, and you won't have to put in as much effort down the line. But it's like you need to get over that first hump, and then it's like smooth sailing after that, eh?
Definitely.
Yeah.
So the next one, do you want to say
Oh,
your
yeah.
next one, Cal?
Yeah, I just want to like just kind of tack on another one on top of that, was just avoid 9 a.m.s, and this is very specific to. This is kind of specific to Sydney, I guess. You
Yeah.
cannot trust the public transport here. You cannot trust the motorways here. They are absolute trash. So do not put yourself in the position. Look, I know some of you guys can't avoid it. I know some students will be like, I got an 8:30 compulsory. Okay, I'm sorry. Your lecturer is an absolute
Your lecturer is an animal.
bad person. Yeah, like, he's not a nice person at all. But if you can avoid it, don't be like, don't fall into the trap of, oh, I used to go to high school like at 9, right? No, it's not like that. It's not like that anymore. Okay, we're not built like that anymore.
You're different now.
Yeah.
You're not
Yeah.
gonna be the same person.
Yeah,
I remember
we have all grown
in our
past.
first year, like, because there were like, it was pretty funny. Like there were like 15 of us all studying engineering at UNSW, and then we were all like,
15.
man, we used to like wake up like super early, like at 7, and I went to school
Yeah.
like let's smash all of our classes at 9 a.m. No,
Never.
Once you get a
Never.
taste of the freedom, like
You sleep in once.
you sleep in once, like,
That's all it takes.
and then you're like, okay, I guess I skip all of my classes now.
And that's the thing. I think with the first year, it's being consistent with classes. You want to be a successful first year? Be consistent with your classes. Don't listen to the people who say, "Oh, you can skip your classes, watch lectures online." No, like make that a habit of watching lectures online very late in your career. Like if I were to go back to it, it's like, opening up myself to that freedom early on, and not, with that great power, I did not have the responsibility clearly, and it's like I misused it, and I just went downhill from there. I did not know how to use all this amazing like freedom. I could just watch this from my bed. Oh yeah, I'll learn the same amount while half asleep. No, you won't. Like, no, you won't. Like, what do you mean? Like, oh yeah, I'll watch this over dinner. And it's like, no, you're not gonna get the same amount of information out of it if you're gonna watch it over dinner. It's like, go to these lectures, right? I think a lot of students, man, like you talk to a majority of people and they're like, man, I should have put more effort in first year. That's always the sentiment, right? And I don't think it's you have to work any harder. It's just try to be consistent with your classes. Don't dog your classes, right?
build good habits.
Yes, yeah. I bet if we were just consistent with our first year classes, it would have been completely different story if you look at my transcript now. You know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't have these terrible marks. And it wasn't just like I had to work hard. It was just don't be so lazy. I guess.
Quality of life would have been much better.
Yeah.
Less stress, less anxiety in general.
Trust me. Yeah, the stress of, oh, am I gonna pass this subject? Is the past 12 weeks of my life, is it gonna go down the drain because I'm gonna fail this subject? That stress is not something you'd like. Just don't avoid that, please. So yeah, like if you avoid uh, putting these 9 a.m. classes, you make it a little easier to be consistent with your classes, right? And I think that's the big takeaway that I wanted to say. Because, yeah, and this is kind of Sydney specific, right? Because seriously, cannot trust your trains, man. Like, they will dog you out on the worst days, on the days you need them the most. On the times that you need them the most, the train will come late. I bet you. The bus will come late, or the light rail, whatever it is. Or like you hop on the M5 and then there's a breakdown or something ridiculous like that, and you need to get to these classes, right? So obviously, don't make any compulsory classes at 9. Please don't. And then on top of that, just avoid 9 a.m. lectures even, right? Just try to put them in slots where you actually make it to them, because I think there's so much more benefit from making it to your classes than smashing it out quickly or putting it in a 9 a.m. to ideally smash it out, but then having to just end up like skipping it like week in, week out, right? So yeah, being consistent with your classes by avoiding 9 a.m. classes. That's my
100% agree.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking back to like first year now when, when there were 15 of us all studying engineering at UNSW.
Yeah.
I just remember like we would just pile into tutorial rooms and we'd just take up 2 rows. Like, it's just us. Oh,
Yeah.
It was so funny.
It was so like we still had such a high school mentality.
Yeah.
Like, oh, let me sit next to my friends. Let me sit next to my friends. It's like, well, what? For what? You're gonna be doing work anyways. All you and like all we do is just talk and like disrupt the class.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my god, how embarrassing! Like stuck in high school kind of thing.
Yeah, it's just
But it
being
was fun,
rowdy in
not gonna lie.
tutorials.
Yeah, it was pretty fun though. But yeah,
Okay.
that's my big tip, man. Like, just avoid that.
Okay, my next one is don't be afraid to underload. Oh my goodness. I wish I
This
learned
is
this
fire.
lesson.
This
I
is
wish I
fire.
learned my lesson earlier on, guys. So you're going to come into uni, you're going to be like, man, you're going to have this ego. Like, everyone does 4 subjects. Probably 3 now. It depends on what uni you are. But everyone like comes in like, I can handle full load. That's fine. And then you realize uni's kind of hard. And like, some people can handle it. Some people got great study habits, smash it out. But sometimes you're just not in that same place. I think accepting where you are is very important. So I think my uni career took a distinctly positive turn once I started deciding to like, okay, like this workload is too intense for me. Let me do 3 subjects instead of 4. Or you know what? At the moment, I'm balancing work, finding like internships or whatever. Maybe I'll drop down to 2 subjects. Really, like, don't be afraid to underload. Don't feel like you're on this timeline of it's a 4-year degree. I have to graduate in 4 years, because you would rather just like account for that extra time. Maybe you take 5 years, but your life is just much more pleasant. Those 5 years, you can get in a lot more extracurricular activities, right? Because if you're trying to just finish it off like as quick as possible, you might like just like overwork yourself and you might end up failing a subject. And then you're going to take the 5th year anyway, right?
Yeah.
So if the workload becomes too much, don't be afraid to underload. If you've got a lot of other stuff going on, like an internship, right? Don't be afraid to underload.
I like that. It's like accepting where you are. Not everyone comes into uni like. Not everyone is like hitting the ground running. You know what I mean? Like, I did not hit the ground running, bro. I was hit the ground and I just stuck. I'm just there. Like, it took me like 3 years to figure out how I could like manage the whole uni life. And yeah, if you look at my transcript, every semester that I tried to full load, absolute trash wham. And then like as I started to underload, it started to improve. But obviously I'm not going, oh, everyone take their time, right? We're just saying like you need to accept it sometimes, that if your workload is clearly too much, you don't need to be alpha male and you don't need to be the big guy and trying to take on, like, no one's a superhero, you know what I mean? yeah, like underload. I remember you mentioned this like to me, and I was like, and looking back, it was like an amazing revelation. Like, what was it? Your cousin was like, underload the first 2 semesters. I was like, oh, that's a bloody genius idea. Like, oh. It honestly blew my mind when I heard that. Why did no one tell me this, man? Like,
I
it
didn't.
was,
I didn't even do it. Like, so it was Miss Lena, like
yeah,
our English tutor, that told us like,
yeah,
um, underload your first year. And we should probably tell students to do this as well. In your first
yeah,
year, do one less subject than you're supposed to, because you get used to the workload. You get used to like it gives you more time to like make friends and stuff, and then you'll just do better in your courses.
yeah.
Like,
And you look back, I look back now, it's like, doing poorly in a first year course it's unbelievably embarrassing. Because you go back and that course is so easy. The course was trying to give me marks, and I wouldn't even rock up to like my exams or my quizzes. I'm like, oh, it's 2%, it's 3% or whatever like that, right? Because I was like, oh, I'm so
dangerous.
overloaded. Yeah, you skip that first quiz, you skip that first like homework, 1% homework, and like, oh my god, it's downhill from there. But yeah, underloading in your first year is honestly the biggest IQ play I've ever heard about, man. Like, I didn't get a chance to do it, but if I were to go back and do it, I would 100% underload. Just take one subject off and give yourself time to adjust to this new workload. You know, my gosh, there will be students out there. I get it. There will be students out there, like straight up overachiever. Okay, that sounds bad, but like high achievers, right? That they'll get into uni and they'll adjust super, super quickly, but we are not all those people. And yeah, like having the chance to ramp your way up, I think is amazing. Straight up one of the best strategies I've heard of. And I hope someone's listening and you guys try it out, and then you tell us in a year. Let us know how it goes. Show us your marks after a year, and it's like, see if it's like if it actually turned out well or not.
Yeah, I reckon it's very important. You're gonna be like sitting there with 3 subjects, like properly learning, not cramming. You're gonna have time to chill out with your friends, have a part-time job. Whereas your mate over there, who insists on doing a full load, it's gonna get crushed. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, straight up, man. Like, underload. Oh my gosh, if you can, don't get into a habit of underloading too often though. It's like, also like, there's a fine line in everything that we do. But yeah, the first year I think is so necessary. The workload, that adjustment to all that freedom, you need time, man.
Yes.
You need time. You've never had anything like it, man. You've never had that freedom.
I think this is a super good point. Like, you might be like crushing that. You might have crushed the HSC, right? But then, like, I've seen this happen to friends. They get to uni. Not you, Cal. But
No, it is.
like,
It is. I mean,
but you kind of realize that, like the reason why they were able to crush it was because they had so much structure. Like, it's kind of said a lot, but you really are spoon-fed, like in high school, especially if you've got tutoring and everything. Everything's laid out for you. You don't have to manage your own time. You just do what you're told, and then like you can do really well that way. But at uni, adjusting to managing yourself, getting yourself to do the work, getting yourself to study, right? It's not trivial. Like, it's a skill that needs to be learned. And if you've been like spoon-fed and just like helicoptered, I guess, like all your life, then it's a big adjustment to being self-managed.
yeah. I mean, we were talking about this right before we started. It's like, I'm struggling with that still, like self-managing is a really, I love that. It's not trivial, man. Just because you see some people absolutely killing it, it's not trivial. It's not something that everyone's born with. These guys have been in positions that have allowed them to like nurture these skills, but not everyone has had that opportunity. And me, like, Justin was being very polite, but Justin pretty much was describing my experience. I absolutely killed it in the HSC because I was spoon-fed, and I did not need to worry about a lot of external stresses as well. That's the other thing. It's like, man, you go into uni and you start working, right? And you start paying for stuff, and you want to pay your fair share at home, and you want to pay for your own food. You want to go out and you have to start budgeting. There are a lot of hidden things that you start to do for yourself, like I said, like budgeting and those small things, right? They start to load up in your brain, and you don't realize, and you expect yourself to perform exactly the same way whilst taking on an even like more difficult challenge. It's like, what are you crazy? If you don't think about it, it feels like, yeah, I should be able to do this fine. But taking a step back, you realize, no, it's a big task. It's a big transition into uni. So you need to give yourself every chance to do well. So underloading, wow, is your best friend, man.
All right, and let's go with our final tip, Cal. This is your one.
Oh yeah. For me, like the tip is always, or you always hear, get internships as soon as possible, right? And that is 100% true. But obviously, you can't get an internship first year. Oh, not you can't. You don't really need to. Okay, if your degree is like long enough, it's quite difficult to get a first year.
You've got to be the creme de la creme.
Yeah.
If to get like an internship in your first year.
Yeah. And so I feel like there is a very luxurious period in your university time, like where it's like you have a lot of free time, and I didn't make the most of it. I went to Japan once, but if I look back, I'm like, I should have made the most of every single damn holiday I had. And now everyone I'm speaking to jumping into full-time jobs, it's like that time is like just fleeting. You know what I mean? It's like we absolutely like savor every last bit of the weekend and every last bit of like I don't know, like a public holiday or anything like that. And looking back, I was like, oh my god, I really had it good back then. Like doing uni maybe 3-4 days a week. It's like I had 3-day weekends every single time. We had like, what was it, like, how long was our breaks at the end? Like 2 months or like 3 months? Something ridiculous. Yeah. It's like, my gosh, save up and just enjoy that time by going out and traveling, or just you making the most of those holidays. Because before you know it, you're going to like lose that ability, that luxury. And then for me personally, it's just big regrets all around. So this is just my personal experience. If you get the chance early on and you're not doing internships yet, because I know a lot of students, summer vacation, internships, that's good, second, third year and stuff like that. But really early on, especially say fresh out of HSC, that massively long break before uni starts, make the most of that. And then maybe your first uni break, right? Make the most of that, and just really savor that time, because as you grow older, that time kind of, it dwindles down a little bit, because you want to enter a phase of your life where you start to work real hard, right? That's kind of like you got to put in that effort to kind of build your career. There's no really way around it. So yeah, for me personally, making the most of the holidays at the beginning is something that I'd love to go back in time and do.
Definitely. Like you get such big holidays that you got to make the most of them.
Yeah.
I think one thing I would tack onto that is holidays are very good use of your holidays, but other ideas are do stuff like little projects, like if from a software engineering standpoint, right? That really helps with your degree, or it helps with finding your job, because, and I think it applies to like a lot of different degrees. What you learn at uni, there's a bit of a disconnect sometimes to what you will practically use every day in a job. So using your holidays to kind of bridge that gap, like building the practical skills rather than the theoretical skills, really good use of your holidays as well.
Yeah, making the most of your holidays, I guess. Yeah, that's the real takeaway. Because like, you just have, like, looking back, it was just amazing, man. Like how much time you had to yourself.
You got big holidays, yeah.
Seriously big holidays. And like even when uni started, it still was kind of holiday, man. Like sometimes you'd have a semester where it's like just really chill subjects, and like, you just end up like filling out that time doing nothing. Whereas, yeah, like maybe the goal of that semester is for you to just enjoy, go out and road trip, beach house, I don't know, do something with your friends, right? Spend more time with your family.
There's a good do a lot of road trips and beach houses.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like we're
it doesn't happen after uni anymore.
Yes. You don't see any. Yeah, you don't see many. You don't see many people in jobs just be like, oh, I want to take a road trip. I'm gonna go this weekend or something like that. It's a lot more difficult, I guess, because you are limited, right? And you need to take time off. And oh my god, just the logistics of being an adult sucks, right? Make the most of that time you have at uni. So much free time, guys. Serious.
Yeah. So I guess we'll kind of wrap up there. Kind of key takeaways, I think, are uni is a really good time in your life. Not that like adult life is worse, but it's more, you don't have as much freedom. So make the most of uni. Do the tips that we said, and let's finish off our song recommendations this week, Cal. What do
All
you
right.
have?
I've been listening to a lot of Pokemon Emerald.
Oh,
The music from Pokemon Emerald. Emerald was the one game that I played, and
yeah,
I've played it so many times. Like I told this to Kelly, I was like, I've played it so many times where I can probably memorize almost every little thing about it. Like you can drop me in the middle of a Pokemon Emerald, and I'll make my way through, and I'll just like, I know
yeah,
exactly what I have to do, kind of thing. Like I've played it that many times,
yeah,
and then recently I was reading up on just like how music in games, like it really helps you get work done and stuff like that. It's very like it's there but not there. They design it so that it doesn't distract you from the main goal, and like but it's motivating at the same time or something like that. And I'm just listening back, and seriously, some of these like soundtracks absolutely slap, man. Like
yeah.
there is some crazy like orchestra and like instrumentals that you hear. So for me personally, it's a bit of nostalgia. Pokemon Emerald. I don't know. That's fourth gen, I think. Yeah.
Third gen.
What about you, Justin? What have you been listening to?
Ooh,
I
all
got
right.
this recommendation through the chat. I saw this. Yep.
Taylor Swift's released another version of Love Story, Taylor's version. Oh my goodness, it's good. It sounds basically the same. You'd have to be an avid Love Story listener to be able to tell the difference. But there are differences. I am an avid Love Story listener.
Ooh.
Um, you catch me at karaoke, I'm singing this song.
It's a
Everyone's singing
classic.
this song. It's such a
It's
good
a classic.
karaoke song. Like it's easy to sing.
Yeah.
There's so much passion that you can like drive into it. Great song, great song. So the new
Yeah.
version of Love Story. It's been 12 years since the original was released. I remember like listening to it in like year 7. Like, ooh, Love Story.
What are some of the differences? Can you walk us through?
Mm, so like her voice sounds more mature. Um,
So is it re-recorded?
it's completely re-recorded. It's like
Oh.
it's not like I don't. It doesn't use the original recording at all.
Yeah.
The some of the inflections of the way she says a word is like a little bit different, but the vibe in general is still quite similar. I would say it just sounds a bit more mature.
So would you say good improvement on the original? Because the original is pretty high bar.
I wouldn't say it's an improvement. I would say they're different.
Different vibe.
I love both equally. I love both
Okay,
equally,
true.
Cal.
All right, very diplomatic of you, Mister.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for listening. Thank you, Cal, for being on the podcast.
Cheers, bro.
Bye bye.